It's Monday, November 1st, 2021. Well, the problems continue to persist, ladies and gentlemen. The problems are not going away. You know, those people that were laughing at you 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, where are they? They're not laughing, are they? I want to share a few articles with you to just reinforce with all of you what's going on. And I'm so thankful that most of you watching these videos are preparing. I feel sorry. I feel bad for the people who have not been preparing, because when the bottom falls out of these markets, of this economy, there are no do-overs. There are no going to, I'm going to prepare today, I'm going to go to the store and get ready. It's over. It's over. There will be no time. And as I read you these articles, feel free to comment down below and make sure that you subscribe to this channel, share these videos, and give this video a thumbs up. But I want to share these articles with you, and it just reinforces the direction that we're heading, and it's really guaranteeing that things are going to get much worse. Carriers must move 60,000 containers out of Los Angeles, Long Beach by Halloween. This came out a few days ago. Well, you know that those 60,000 containers, most of them did not get moved out. It's impossible without the chassis to put those containers on that those trucks pull. Without those chassis, you cannot move these containers. Without the trucks, you cannot move these containers. And without the space, there's nowhere to move these containers to. So the problems are going to persist, and they're going to get worse. Article today on The Hedge. I've been trucking for 20 years. I'll tell you why America's shipping crisis will not end. And he asked this question. He says, I have a simple question for every expert out there. Why is there one crane for every 50 to 100 trucks at every port in America? Most trucking companies won't touch shipping containers. If you're a driver, you've been down there, you can easily wait. I have a personal friend who used to go down there, and he would wait 8 to 10 hours to pick up a container. Sometimes it's 8 hours just to get into the port. And if you're getting paid by the load, not by the hour, you're not making any money. You are losing money. The wheels must be turning. We now have a container chassis shortage. Again, this is the trailer that they put the containers on that the trucks pull. And if you don't have the chassis, if you're not shipping by rail, then how are you shipping these containers? Warehouses are behind schedule. Driver drops the trailer at the warehouse, has to be unloaded. He has to wait till it's unloaded in order to bring that empty trailer back or wherever it's going. But this can take a very, very long time now. A driver could drop that trailer and have to come back a few days later to pick it up and bring it back to the port or wherever he's going. But they're not just pulling up and these trucks are being unloaded on the spot. It's taking hours, even days, maybe even weeks for that trailer to get unloaded. So in conclusion, you can run these ports 24/7. But if you don't have the trucks, you don't have the chassis to haul it, good luck. You're going to have piles and piles of containers sitting out here in Long Beach and Los Angeles. Trucking companies and warehouses may be charging more, but most of the drivers are not making more. In fact, they're probably making less, because if those wheels aren't turning, if they have downtime, they're not getting paid. So you might get paid, say, a 40-hour week, but with all the downtime, you're working 70, 80 hours because you're waiting for those trailers to be unloaded. You're waiting in line to get into the port. You're waiting to be loaded. So it's a complete mess. Daily Mail, here's another mess. American Airlines already canceled 365 flights this morning, roughly about 2,000 flights over the weekend. So here we go again, another airline, more congestion, and it just never seems to end. So People waiting in airports to get on flights, truck drivers waiting to pick up containers that are just sitting. It just seems like this whole economy is just at a standstill. It's just stagnant, right? Just sitting there, stagnant, nothing moving. People stuck at airports, goods and products stuck at the ports or stuck on ships floating out at sea. A complete nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. Is it going to get better anytime soon? I don't think so. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. U.S. manufacturing surveys slump in October. New orders slide. Prices surge. PMI for September was 60.70. October PMI was 58.4. So again, more problems. Another article today. This fire is hot. Why Morgan Stanley is bracing for a collapse in the U.S. consumer early next year. Survey suggests many lower income consumers are worried about their finances. What a shock. Again, with inflation increasing at double-digit rates in necessities like food, energy, shelter, and healthcare. Not only should the lower income consumer be worried about this, the middle class consumer better be worried about this. Once the Fed tightens, we're going to see stocks deteriorate and earnings growth go negative for many companies, ladies and gentlemen. When these rates begin to raise, we're going to see big problems. And look, we either are going to see inflation soaring to a point that we could see hyperinflation, or the Fed is going to get ahead of it. They're so far behind it already, but at some point they're going to have to react and do something like raise interest rates. And this, in my opinion, could cause a depression here in America. And this is why I make these videos, ladies and gentlemen. We have never lived in a time in our lifetime, my lifetime or your lifetime, or your parents' lifetime, or your grandparents' lifetime, where we've seen anything like this. In fact, we've never seen anything like this in the history of the United States of America, where we are seeing runaway inflation, we're seeing people quitting their jobs, we're seeing people refusing to go back to work, we're seeing people losing jobs, and we're seeing this stagnation in the economy where people can't even get on an airplane, we can't unload ships, we can't ship a piece of toilet paper across the country. We are really, really in big trouble here. And on top of that, we are so dependent on other parts of the world for our goods and for these products that if they don't get delivered, the whole thing comes to a standstill. And what happens when the U.S. consumer no longer has a demand, when we see a loss in demand for these products? Because if the consumer isn't getting government subsidies, if they're not getting a stimmy, if they're not getting a benefit check, how are they going to pay for this? How are they going to pay for all of this? And on top of that, all of the debt they've acquired over the last couple years. Big trouble, ladies and gentlemen. Zillow caught holding the bag as 93% of Phoenix flipping portfolio listed at loss. Please comment down below. What does this mean? To me, it means that we are beginning to see the housing market cool off. And we're going to see a massive correction, which I believe is going to be a massive crash. Things are getting worse for Zillow after purchasing 5,661 homes across 25 metro areas from Austin to Tucson since the beginning of 2021. Zillow announced on October 17th that it would stop buying homes for the remainder of 2021. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. In Phoenix, Arizona, things look even worse than we thought. 93% of the homes Zillow bought to flip are now listed at a loss, or for less than they were purchased for. So what is it like? What does this tell you, ladies and gentlemen? You know, I know there's people out there telling you to buy a house. I know there's real estate agents out there telling you there's never been a better time to buy a house than right now. I think you have to be out of your mind to buy a house right now. I am purposely waiting to 2022 to see how this all plays out. As most of you know, I'm leaving the state, but there's no way I will buy anything in a bubble like we're seeing right now. And we're beginning to see some of the air come out of these bubbles, especially in real estate. I'm looking at properties out of the state, and I'm being notified on a daily basis of price reductions every day on properties. So it's beginning to happen. And I know that there's people that believe they're immune because they live in Phoenix or they live in Florida or they live in Texas. They're immune, that it's never going to go down. We know, at least from my experience in 2008, the hottest housing market was California, and it took one of the hardest blows, right? Vegas took an enormous blow. Arizona, parts of Arizona like Lake Havasu took really, really hard hits. And the areas that see this crazy growth where prices are doubling in a matter of a year, they usually tend to take the worst hits. So I look to see places like Phoenix, places in Florida, places here in California, again, take very monstrous hits. Another article today coming from The Hedge. Here is Bill Ackerman's presentation to the New York Fed, urging it to begin hiking rates ASAP. He spoke, I don't know, what was it, last Wednesday, Thursday? Big time investor, hedge fund manager. He says the Fed is making a huge mistake if they wait till the second half of 2022 to raise rates. He says that he believes the Fed should taper immediately and begin raising rates as soon as possible. I agree 100%. We continue to dance while the music is playing, and it's time to turn down the music and settle down. When rates go up, ladies and gentlemen, people are not going to know what hit them. You need to be preparing for these things right now. Have cash put away, have some gold, some silver put away. Of course, we talk about all the emergency type assets you need: food, water, security, other things, a trauma kit. Put extra medicines, extra vitamins away. Put extra matches, candles, flashlights, things like that. Think outside the box, that if the lights went down for a week, what you would need. Do you have extra propane tanks, extra propane canisters for a jet boil? Do you have a jet boil? Things that you may need to lessen the blow if we were ever to see a grid go down, cyber attacks. Look, if the economy gets really, really bad, you may not want to leave your house. There's going to be a lot of conflict out there. So we continue to see food shortages. If they got very extreme, do you really want to be going to a Walmart with all the conflict that would be taking place? This is why you prepare, so you don't have to put yourself in a bad position, physically or economically. Disneyland ticket prices go up as much as 8%, with parking rising 20%. This was in the LA Times last week. Tier 6, you want to get a Tier 6 one-day pass, will now cost you $164. The cheapest tier, Tier 1, is $104. If you took a family of 4 to Disneyland, and you had food there, by the time you pay for parking, food, the tickets, you could easily spend $1,000. How in the world are amusement parks like Disneyland going to survive with everything going on? And the Disneyland, not Disney World, but Disneyland out here in Anaheim, California, depended on a lot of tourists, international tourists, who are not flying right now. So it's just really incredible to see the prices today of everything. Even going to Disneyland, taking your family there for a good time, most people are going to be priced out of it. There's no way that a family of 4 is going to pay. Well, some can, but most are not going to be able to pay $1,000 for a day of fun. Squid Games, this new meme coin that went up 230,000%, plunged 100% to less than a half a cent from a high of $2,861.80. So it didn't take long for that to happen. Again, people want to get rich quick. They want to get rich overnight. I think a lot of people just love the excitement and the adrenaline rush of a lot of these cryptos. And they're just, betting a couple $1,000 and trying to become a millionaire. Again, if you have the means and you can afford to lose the money and you like gambling, more power to you. I'm not a gambler, and I cannot afford to be gambling with everything that I see taking place right now. Every penny I have goes to gold, to silver, to food, to other gear, or to cash. That's how I'm doing it. And as many of you know, I don't give financial advice. I just think out loud and I share with you what I'm doing, many of my friends are doing. Most people I know are not gambling right now. They are buying hard assets, whether it's food or water or gear or security or silver or gold, things of that nature, and they're putting cash away. Another article today from The Hedge. The $1 trillion child tax credit is really universal basic income. The $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill wants to extend this through 2025. More than likely, it will never be repealed by either party. $3,600 per child under 6, $3,000 per child if they're older than 6. It's paid by check, free of any connection to income or taxes. It's a full-fledged entitlement, ladies and gentlemen. But think about this. If you had 5 kids under 6, that's $3,600 per child. That's $300 times 5. That's $1,500 a month. That's non-taxable. So imagine if you pulled this out of the equation, we would definitely see different numbers. I think in this economy, people would be buying less than they are now. People would be purchasing less. And we would see probably more people going back to work. So why would people go back to work when they could sit at home and make $1,500 tax-free just off their kids? So again, everything gets swayed when you have all this entitlement, when you have benefits, and you have stimulus checks. The employment numbers get swayed. The amount of people going back to work gets swayed. How much money people are spending, and more people going to restaurants, more people buying clothing, more people buying cars, because it's all swayed because they're getting all this free money. You take the free money out of the equation, what does this look like? And the more that we take out, the faster and farther these numbers in purchasing are going down. They're plunging. People aren't buying the cars. People aren't going shopping like they once were because the stimmies are gone. The benefits are gone. But if you have kids, you still get entitlement. I want to share this last article with you coming from The Hedge. Venezuelans turn to gold nuggets as the local currency implodes. A loaf of bread costs 7 million bolivar. The bolivar has lost 73% of its value in 2021 alone. The inflation rate is expected to hit 5,500%, 5,500% by the end of the year. People are wrapping gold flakes in paper bolivars now in parts of Venezuela. And when we see things get worse and worse throughout the world, people begin to realize what real money is. Now, I know that there's people out there that tell me I have no idea what I'm talking about. These are the same people that seem to know everything. They're investing their $2,200 in their Robinhood account and not really investing it, but gambling it in multiple cryptos. And they seem to know everything. And look, I will admit, the older I get, the more I realize the less I know. When you're young, you think you know everything. As you get older, you realize you don't know all that much. But what people do realize is when fiat currencies collapse, when they begin to go hungry, when there's a lack of food, there's food insecurity, and there's a massive amount of poverty, no matter how old you are, you begin to realize what real money is, and that's gold. And the people in Venezuela are realizing that right now. When it comes to currencies, they're all paper. But when it comes to money, there's only one, and that's gold. So no matter how much you think you know, you need to know that when you're in a country that begins to implode economically, socially, when the fiat currency, whatever that fiat currency is, it's paper, no matter what fiat currency it is, at the end of the day, it's paper. When it begins to get hit by inflation, that turns into hyperinflation, you will figure out, as millions of people did throughout history, that there's only one money. It's not electric, it's not digital, it's not paper, it's gold. So as I leave you today, Make sure that as you prepare for what's coming, that you have some gold, that you have some silver. You're going to need that to protect yourself economically. But things that are more important are going to be food. It's going to be water. It's going to be security. It's going to be the trauma kits. It's going to be the medicines. It's going to be the vitamins. You need to have that first before you think about how you're going to protect yourself economically. Because first off, if you cannot protect these economic assets like gold and silver, they're worthless. Somebody will just take them from you. So security is the number one asset next to God. So start there. I'm going to leave it there today. Have a phenomenal week. Markets seem to be flat today, but there's no excuse not to go out and prepare a little bit today, to go buy an extra case of water, go buy a couple extra cans of food, to order some emergency food, if you can even get it now. Remember, when this thing implodes, when it begins to crash, it's going to happen very, very fast. We're watching the death by 1,000 cuts right now to this economy, but we're going to wake up one day and this thing is going to accelerate at a hyper level, and people are going to have no idea what just happened. Take today and put the odds in your favor. Take today, go buy a little extra water, a little food. If you don't have security, go get it. Think about where you're weak and what you need to do to strengthen up your strategy or your plan, and work on that. God bless every one of you. Share this video, and I will talk with all of you very soon.